You're scrolling, drifting through the endless static of the algorithm, waiting for the signal to cut through the noise. Consider, if you will, that you just found the frequency. You've just stepped off the timeline of the everyday, into the space where the forgotten history and the hidden truths finally touch down. There's the story you know, and then there's the airspace we're about to enter. Check your coordinates, because you're heading towards the landing point. Welcome back, friends. Today's story, the Renagade. Professor Theodore was a man of science, a distinguished, highly respected biologist down in Tasmania, Australia. A man of order, reason, and discipline, his son, however, was a completely different species. Let's just call the boy by his middle name, Leslie. Young Leslie was, to put it mildly, a magnificent disappointment. While the good professor was busy discovering new species of marsupials, his son was busy getting kicked out of every prestigious school his parents could afford. First, it was a fine academy in Sydney. Expelled. The reason? A rather scandalous clandestine romance with the school's laundress. Then shipped off to England to get straightened out. Expelled again. By his late teens, Leslie was the uninsurable liability. So he did what scoundrels and dreamers have always done. He fled to the very large edge of the map. He went to the untamed jungles of New Guinea. If you were looking for a place to disappear in the 1920s, New Guinea was it. It was a brutal, sweltering frontier of headhunters, gold diggers, and desperate men. And young Leslie fit in. He tried his hand at just about everything and failed at most of it. He managed a coconut plantation. He got bored and quit. He tried starting a tobacco farm. It went broke. He brought a leaky 50-foot schooner to haul cargo, ran up impossible debts, and it nearly sank. He tried panning for gold in the treacherous Marobe goldfields, dodging hostile tribesmen and battling severe bouts of malaria. He even found himself standing before a magistrate facing charges of murder. He was eventually acquitted, claimed self-defense, but the message was clear. Leslie was a man living on broke, battered by the tropics, and dodging creditors at every port. He was a spectacular, swashbuckling failure. But then a funny thing happened. In 1932, a desperate filmmaker was trying to put together a low-budget picture about mutiny on the Bounty. Broke, battered by the tropics, and dodging creditors at every port, he was a spectacular, swashbuckling failure. But then a funny thing happened. In 1932, a desperate filmmaker was trying to put together a low-budget picture about mutiny on the Bounty. Broke, battered by the tropics, and dodging creditors at every port, he was a spectacular, swashbuckling failure. But then a funny thing happened. In 1932, a desperate filmmaker was trying to put together a low-budget picture about mutiny on the Bounty. He didn't have much money, but he needed a fellow who knew his way around a boat and looked rugged enough to have survived the high seas. Somebody remembered the tall, incredibly handsome drifter who was always getting into trouble down by the docks. They offered Leslie a few bucks to stand in front of a camera. He took it mostly because he needed the cash to pay off a gambling debt. He had never taken an acting lesson in his life, but when the film made its way across the ocean to Hollywood, the studio executives at Warner Brothers sat up in their chairs. They didn't see a failed tobacco farmer. They didn't see a Tasmanian juvenile delinquent. They saw a man who didn't need to pretend to be a pirate or a rogue or a dashing hero because he actually was one. They brought him to America. They slapped a sword in his hand, put him on a pirate ship in a movie called Captain Blood, and watched as he completely conquered the world. The studio executives thought they had discovered a brilliant new actor. But the truth is, the man up in the silver screen wasn't acting at all. He was just surviving, with a little more makeup and a much better wardrobe. You see, middle name Leslie, first name Errol, the legendary Robin Hood, the ultimate Hollywood swashbuckler, Errol Flynn. And whether you realize it or not, this is The Landing Point. Viewers, thank you for watching today, The Landing Point. We really appreciate it. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Roadrunner Real Estate. They are a full-service real estate company doing both commercial and residential real estate. They can help you buy, sell, or even lease your properties. So if you're in the market looking for a real estate company, please go out and give them a call. They'll happily help you today. The next thing I'd like to talk about is our social media. Obviously, we have YouTube if you're watching that today. If you haven't done so already, please go out and subscribe. It is completely free to you. There's nothing that you'll be charged or your membership fees, but it does help us out so we can get our latest episodes to you quickly, and you can find out what's going on with YouTube. Our other place that we do a lot of our social media is on our Facebook page, The Landing Point. So please go out and like and subscribe or follow those, I guess I would say, so you get the latest updates. If you're a person that likes to listen to stories as you're out on the drive, we have our podcast. You can find The Landing Point out there, and it can be on most services. So once again, thank you for watching The Landing Point, and we look forward to see you on our next story.